Hey there, welcome back to the channel. What really happens when you stop talking to someone, when you go silent, not out of anger, not out of weakness, but out of control? Do they forget you, or do they start feeling something they can't ignore? Most people think silence means you lost, that you gave up, that you had nothing left to say. But the truth is completely different. Silence, when used with discipline, is one of the most powerful moves you can make. Because when you stop explaining, stop reacting, and stop giving your energy, you force the other person to face something they've been avoiding, themselves. Think about it. When you were always there, always responding, always trying, they never had to think deeply. Your presence made everything easy. Your words filled the gaps. Your attention kept them comfortable. But now that comfort is gone, and what replaces it is silence. Stoic philosophy teaches that real power is not in what you say, but in what you choose not to say. Epictetus said that silence is a form of control because it removes emotional reactions and creates clarity. When you choose silence, you are not running away. You are stepping into control. You are deciding that your energy will no longer be used without respect. You are deciding that your peace matters more than temporary connection. And here's the truth most people don't realize. Your silence affects them more than your words ever did. Seneca believed that people suffer more from what they imagine than what actually happens. And your silence creates that imagination. It creates questions. It creates doubt. It creates a space where they are forced to think, reflect, and feel the absence of you. This video will show you exactly why your silence makes them suffer, what goes on in their mind when you step back, and how you can use this to reclaim your power without saying a single word. This is not about playing games. This is about self-respect, emotional control, and becoming someone who no longer needs to explain their worth. So make a decision right now. Decide that you will no longer speak just to be heard. Decide that your silence will carry more power than your words ever did. If you're ready to take that control, I want you to go to the comments and write this right now. My silence is my power. Number 1, they are forced to face their own thoughts. The first thing that happens when you choose silence is this: they are forced to face their own thoughts, and this is where the discomfort begins. Before, your presence gave them an escape. Your messages, your reactions, your attention kept their mind busy. They didn't have to think too deeply about their actions because you were always there to respond, to engage, to keep the connection alive. But now that distraction is gone, and in its place is silence. Stoic philosophy teaches that when distractions are removed, truth becomes clear. Epictetus explained that a person must sit with their own mind to understand their reality, and this is exactly what happens to them. Without your voice, without your presence, they are left alone with their thoughts. They start thinking about what they said, what they did, how they treated you. They start questioning things they ignored before. Did they take you for granted? Did they push you away? Could they have done things differently? These thoughts don't come from you. They come from your silence. Do not break your silence too early. Let them sit with their thoughts. That discomfort is part of their realization. Stay focused on your own growth. While they are reflecting, you should be improving yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. Resist the urge to explain yourself. Your silence already says everything that needs to be said. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to focus on his own actions and not be distracted by others. When you follow this mindset, you stay in control. You allow silence to do its work without interfering. And the longer that silence continues, the deeper their thoughts become. They begin to feel the weight of their actions, not because you told them, but because your absence made them think. And that is where the suffering begins. Not from what you said, but from what you chose not to say. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. My silence creates truth. Number 2, they start overthinking every detail. The second thing that happens when you choose silence is this. They start overthinking every detail, and this is where their mind begins to work against them. When communication stops, the human mind does not stay quiet. It fills the silence with questions, assumptions, and possibilities. Before, when you were speaking, everything was clear. They knew where they stood. They knew how you felt. But now, your silence removes that clarity, and uncertainty takes its place. Stoic philosophy teaches that uncontrolled thoughts can create unnecessary suffering. Seneca observed that people suffer more from imagined fears than real situations, and this is exactly what happens to them. They start replaying past conversations. They analyze your last words. They question your silence. Are you done? Did they lose you? Are you moving on? Every unanswered question grows louder in their mind. Do not respond just to ease their confusion. Your silence is what creates the realization. Stay disciplined. Do not let curiosity pull you back into communication. Keep your focus on yourself. While they are overthinking, you should be building your strength and clarity. Epictetus taught that controlling your own mind is the key to freedom, and right now, you are doing exactly that. When you maintain your silence, you stay in control while they lose control of their thoughts. They begin to feel the weight of not knowing, the discomfort of uncertainty, and the pressure of unanswered questions. And that pressure creates suffering. Number 3, they feel the absence of your energy. The third thing that happens when you choose silence is this. They begin to feel the absence of your energy, and this hits deeper than anything you could ever say. Words can be ignored, messages can be dismissed. But energy, once it is gone, leaves a space that cannot be filled easily. Before, your presence added something to their life, your attention, your consistency, your effort. It created a sense of comfort they didn't fully appreciate at the time. But now, that energy is gone. Stoic philosophy teaches that people often fail to value what is always available until it disappears. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that everything is temporary, and once something is gone, it reveals its true importance. This is exactly what they begin to experience. They notice the silence. They feel the difference in their daily routine. Something feels off, something feels missing, and they can't ignore it. Do not try to replace your absence with small interactions. Stay consistent in your distance. Invest your energy into yourself instead of giving it away. Build your life, your mindset, and your purpose. Remain emotionally detached. Do not let their reaction pull you back into old patterns. Epictetus taught that when you stop depending on others, you gain true strength. When you follow this mindset, your absence becomes powerful. They begin to understand that what you gave was not ordinary. It was something that added value to their life. And now that it's gone, they feel it. They feel the emptiness, the silence, and the loss of your presence. And that feeling creates suffering, not because of what you did, but because of what you stopped giving. Number 4, they lose emotional control without you. The fourth thing that happens when you choose silence is this. They begin to lose emotional control without you, and this creates a level of discomfort they are not prepared for. Before, your presence balanced their emotions. When they felt low, they turned to you. When they needed attention, they reached out. You were their emotional outlet, even if they never admitted it. But now, that outlet is gone. Stoic philosophy teaches that emotional dependence creates weakness because it places your stability in someone else's hands. Epictetus explained that a person who cannot control their emotions is easily controlled by external things. And now, without your presence, they feel that instability. Their moods fluctuate. Their thoughts become restless. They no longer have the same comfort they once relied on. Do not step in to stabilize them again. Let them learn to manage their own emotions. Strengthen your own emotional discipline. Stay calm, focused, and in control of your inner state. Do not react to emotional attempts to pull you back in. Recognize them and remain grounded. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to stay steady, no matter what was happening around him. When you live like this, your power grows. They begin to realize that they can no longer rely on you to regulate their emotions, and that realization creates pressure. They feel the loss of stability, the absence of support, and the weight of handling their emotions alone. And that struggle creates suffering, not because you harmed them, but because you stopped being their source. Number 5. They begin to question their worth without your validation. The fifth thing that happens when you choose silence is this. They begin to question their own worth without your validation, and this creates a deep internal conflict. Before, your attention reassured them. Your messages, your interest, your effort made them feel important. Even if they didn't consciously recognize it, you were reflecting value back to them. But now, that reflection is gone. Stoic philosophy teaches that when a person depends on external validation, their sense of worth becomes fragile. Seneca observed that those who seek approval from others lose control over their own confidence. And now, without your attention, they feel that loss. They begin to question themselves. Why are you silent? Did they do something wrong? Are they no longer important to you? These questions begin to shake their confidence. Do not return to validating them out of habit. Let them face their own insecurities. Build your own self-worth internally. Do not seek validation either. Become your own source. Stay consistent in your silence. Inconsistency weakens the message you are sending. Epictetus taught that true confidence comes from within, not from the opinions of others. When you live by this, you become stable while they feel unstable. They begin to realize that your validation was not something small. It was something that held weight. And now that it is gone, they feel the difference. They feel the uncertainty, the doubt, and the lack of reassurance they once relied on. And that creates suffering, not because you took something from them, but because you stopped giving what they depended on. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I don't seek validation. Number 6. They replay the past and regret their actions. The sixth thing that happens when you choose silence is this. They start replaying the past and feeling regret, and this is where the emotional weight becomes real. When there is no new conversation, no new interaction, the mind goes backward. They begin revisiting moments they once ignored, things they said, things they did, opportunities they wasted. Stoic philosophy teaches that reflection reveals truth when distractions are removed. Seneca believed that time and silence force a person to confront their own mistakes. And now that is exactly what is happening. They remember how you showed up. They remember your patience, your effort, your consistency. And then they compare it to how they responded. That comparison creates regret. Do not interrupt this process. Let them sit with their past decisions. Avoid revisiting old conversations. The past should teach, not trap you. Stay focused on your present growth. While they look back, you move forward. Epictetus taught that growth comes from learning, not from repeating the same patterns. When you follow this mindset, you stay ahead. They begin to understand that they had something valuable and did not treat it the right way. They feel the weight of missed chances and unspoken appreciation. And that feeling builds over time because your silence gives them space to think deeper and longer. This is not something you need to remind them of. They remind themselves. And that realization creates suffering, not from your words, but from their own reflection. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I move forward, not backward. Number 7. They feel powerless without your response. The seventh thing that happens when you choose silence is this. They begin to feel powerless without your response, and this creates a deep internal frustration they cannot easily control. Before they had influence, They could say something and get a reaction. They could act a certain way and feel your response immediately. That gave them a sense of control over the dynamic. But now, that control is gone. Your silence removes their ability to predict you, to influence you, to pull energy from you. Stoic philosophy teaches that power belongs to the person who controls their reactions. Epictetus explained that when you stop reacting, you remove others' power over you. And that is exactly what you have done. They may reach out, they may test the silence, they may try different ways to get your attention, but without your response, they feel stuck. Do not react out of impulse. Stay disciplined and controlled. Observe without engaging. You do not need to respond to understand what is happening. Remain focused on your own growth and direction. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that true strength is remaining unmoved by external actions. When you live like this, your silence becomes powerful. They begin to realize that they cannot control the situation anymore. They cannot predict your behavior. They cannot rely on your reactions. And that loss of control creates frustration, confusion, and discomfort. And that is where the suffering deepens, not because you acted, but because you stopped reacting. Number 8. You reclaim full control of your life. The eighth and most important thing that happens when you choose silence is this: you reclaim full control of your life, and this is where your true power begins. This is no longer about them. This is no longer about what they feel or what they realize. This is about you stepping into a version of yourself that is no longer dependent, no longer reactive, and no longer willing to settle. Before, your energy was tied to them. Your mood, your focus, your attention, it was influenced by their actions. But now, that connection is broken. Stoic philosophy teaches that the highest level of strength is self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that a person must focus on what they can control: their thoughts, their actions, and their direction. And that is exactly what you are doing now. Invest fully in yourself. Your time, your energy, and your focus should build your future, not maintain old connections. Protect your peace at all costs. Do not allow anyone to disrupt what you have built. Never go back to a version of yourself that gave too much without receiving enough. Epictetus taught that freedom comes when you no longer depend on external outcomes. When you live by this, you become unshakable. They may feel your absence. They may struggle with your silence. But your focus is no longer on them. Your focus is on becoming stronger, wiser, and more disciplined every single day. And that is the ultimate shift. Because while they are dealing with the effects of your silence, you are building a life that no longer depends on them at all. Now understand this clearly. Your silence was never weakness. It was your power awakening. You didn't walk away because you had nothing to say. You stepped back because you finally understood your value. Every moment you chose not to react, every time you held your ground, every second you protected your peace. You were building strength they could never see before. Stoic philosophy teaches that true power is quiet, controlled, and unshaken. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that a strong mind does not need noise to prove its strength. And that is who you are becoming. You are no longer chasing closure, no longer explaining your worth, no longer giving your energy to those who cannot respect it. Let them feel your absence. Let them face their thoughts. Let them understand what they lost. But you, keep moving forward. Keep growing. Keep choosing yourself every single time. Because this is not about making them suffer. This is about you rising above everything that once held you back. Stand firm in your silence. Stand firm in your standards. And never forget, you are not losing anything by protecting your peace. You are gaining everything. If this message changed your mindset, don't stop here. Take action, subscribe, stay connected, and continue building the strongest version of yourself. And before you leave, drop this in the comments right now. My silence made me stronger.